Daddy Sat on a Duck by Scott M. Cohn. Daddy sat on a duck. Daddy sat on a duck at dinner one night. "Excuse me," he said, which I thought was polite. I know that if somebody sat on my back, I'd be angry enough to let out a big quack. Next morning I woke to the sound of a roar. Could a lion be lurking behind Mommy's door? When Rue and I tiptoed inside there to scout, the lion had already let himself out. Then later, as Mommy was doing my due, I saw a gorilla using all my shampoo. He was howling and scratching and covered with hair, but when I opened the curtain, only Daddy was there. Later on, from the bathroom, I heard a great din, like a hippo mistakenly sat on a pin. Brrr. When Daddy came out, I could tell from the smell that a very large mammal had been there as well. I was starting to feel like I lived in a zoo. Hoo-hoo, squeak, squeak, burroo. So I asked my best friend if she felt that way too. "Do you ever notice wild beasts in your house?" She said only once, when her mom saw a mouse. Sometimes in the bathroom I'll find little hares. Once I heard a strange wail coming up from downstairs. Whee! I followed it to the garage where I found Uncle Johnny and Daddy were making that sound. Free falling. I was finally fed up. I will find them today. These creatures are no longer welcome to stay. Petweet, petweet, waka waka, gurf, squee, whoop whoop, chip chip chip. The basement, I thought, is the animals' lair, but I didn't see any, just Mommy down there. These animals seemed to be one step ahead. I asked Daddy about it. Here's what he said. "Have you ever had dinner with a chimpanzee, or sailed on a walrus's back through the sea, or ridden a bald eagle up into the skies? A house of wild animals is full of surprise." Since then I've made peace with the things in my home that should furr and make noises wherever they roam, and now I leave some of my snack on a stool in case they get hungry while I'm at school. You may find it strange that I live among beasts, but really I don't even mind in the least. For there's nothing so nice at the end of the night as a kiss from a bear when he turns out the light. The end. Daddy Said a Word I Never Heard by Scott M. Cohn. Note to parents, this book is kid safe and contains no actual obscenity. Daddy Said a Word I Never Heard. I was down in the playroom one crisp autumn eve with Tallulah and Ruby enjoying some tea. We'd had a nice portrait made up of us all, and Daddy was hanging it up on the wall. He took out a nail from inside his shirt pocket. Raising his hammer, got ready to sock it. But apparently things didn't go quite as planned, and the hammer slammed down with great speed on his hand. Thwack! He dropped all his tools to the floor and turned red. Then he shouted a word that I'd never heard said. Scap! Mommy seemed shocked, and Daddy got quiet. I grabbed my best Band-Aid and rushed to apply it. I bandaged his hand, and he put me to bed, but that word that I'd heard echoed all through my head. I thought of the time Daddy fell off the pier, and he shouted a word that was new to my ear. Vorhanging! And when Daddy's good buddies came by to play games, the language they used seemed to be much the same. Fatulsh! And of course, every time Uncle Elon stopped by, I was forced to wear headphones and never told why. The next day at school, we drew turkeys on plates, but my turkey looked like a pig on green skates. I felt very angry and let out a shout, and the word that I'd heard was the one that came out. Scap! When Mrs. Moran heard my frustrated bleat, she took me aside and we both had a seat. She asked where I'd picked up such colorful grammar, so I told her of Daddy's mistake with the hammer. She gave me a look that was stern yet sincere. We mustn't repeat every word that we hear. But Daddy says all kinds of words, I replied. Which ones can I say? How will I decide? Vira, Schmegel, Scarbrata, Muckgroup, Skohilla, Songovel. The ones he says when he stubs his big toe. Kuda! Or the DVR doesn't record the whole show. Hula! When his number one team has just botched a big play. Schleichlong! These are the words that you ought not to say. Mrs. Moran said, let's put it to rest, and the end of the day came without further stress. At home I found Mommy and Daddy contrite. I said I think I'd like meatloaf tonight. It seems that my teacher had called home that day and asked them to carefully choose what to say. I thought they'd be mad for what happened at school, but Daddy came over and pulled up a stool. I'm sorry, my sweetie, for filling your head with those words that your daddy should never have said. There are still ways of speaking when you get upset that express how you're feeling and won't cause regret. So the next time your drawing just doesn't look right, or there's not enough wind to go fly your new kite, you can say, I'm not happy, or I'm feeling blue, and then try to find something else fun you can do. I agreed that the best way to speak as a rule is to use all the good words I'm learning at school. Then Mommy surprised me with meatloaf and sprouts, but the plate was too hot, so she let out a shout. Girl Scout! The end. Made for Me by Zach Bush. Illustrations by Gregorio De Laurentiis. Made for Me. On the day you were born, I beamed with pride. My eyes filled with tears, I joyfully cried. From the moment I saw you and called out your name, the world as I knew it was never the same. I held you so gently, up close to my chest, nestled so cozy, this day was the best. My new role in life had just now begun, your life's greatest treasure, my dear little one. Of all the children that ever could be, you are the one made just for me. Awed and amazed, this was only the start. From your hands to your feet, I loved every part. Your mouth, your ears, and even your nose, your chubby cheeks and your wiggly toes. I'll never forget your sweet little grin, your soft tiny hands, your smooth rounded chin. I cherished each moment you looked in my eyes. I stood by your side through laughter and cries. Of all the children that ever could be, you were the one made just for me. You crawled through the house and began to explore. You peeked behind curtains and in every drawer. With amazement and wonder and never too serious, you'd babble and giggle, always so curious. With comfort I calmed you and came to your aid, always together so you weren't afraid. Each morning I'd wake so excited for you to discover the world and try something new. Of all the children that ever could be, you are the one made just for me. You stood, then fell, but learned how to walk. You said Mama and Dada and started to walk. You laughed with delight as you slid at the park and clapped the first time you heard a dog bark. You loved to bang pots and put on a show. You, my sweet child, were beginning to grow. I rocked you to sleep in a cradle so tight. I melted when you first kissed me goodnight. Of all the children that ever could be, you are the one made just for me. A trip to the beach set the wheels in motion. You built a sandcastle, took a dip in the ocean. I saved the first curl that was snipped from your head. I watched as you climbed into your new big bed. You played in the park, swung a bat, tossed a ball, spent summers poolside, raked leaves in the fall. You rolled in the grass, stayed at clouds up above. I watched you being you, and it's you that I love. Of all the children that ever could be, you were the one made just for me. From the day you were born, so cute and so clever, you're one of a kind and I'll love you forever. It's now time to sleep, rest your beautiful eyes. Soon the dark night will turn to blue skies. Tucked in tight, it's my heart where you'll stay. Tomorrow I'll love you even more than today. Of all the children that ever could be, you are the one made just for me. The end.